Hi, I'm Dr. Debulina Ghosh, Assistant Professor of Sociology at Georgia Southwestern State University. Today I will discuss the two main types of methods that sociologists use while conducting scientific research, depending on what is appropriate or works best for their study. First, let's discuss what is quantitative research. Sociologists and other social scientists use quantitative methods to translate copious amounts of information related to the social world into numbers that can be easily communicated to others through rates, percentages, or charts and graphs. A good example of quantitative research is the U.S. Census Bureau, which uses surveys to analyze data from across the country. We also need to keep in mind that quantitative research uses a deductive approach. That is, it begins with a hypothesis and then tests it to see whether it's accurate. In simple words, a hypothesis is an educated guess or explanation for something that can be tested with the help of existing data or fresh data collected. A hypothesis is mostly based on facts or reasonable assumptions between two or more variables, particularly between independent and dependent variables. For example, we can hypothesize that if we eat less junk food, we can lose weight faster. In other words, we have a theory on weight loss. That is, losing weight is dependent on how much or how frequently we consume junk food. So the independent variable here is junk food and body weight is the dependent variable. Now let's talk about qualitative research. Qualitative research entails the use of non-numerical data like texts, interview transcripts, field notes, photographs, and tape recordings. What it basically does is that it tries to understand how people make sense of their world based on a standpoint perspective, that is, through personal experiences and viewpoints. A good example is Anne Frank's diary, which provides detailed field notes of her experiences and observations during the Nazi persecution of the Jewish people and the horror of the Holocaust. In fact, qualitative researchers try to describe the cases they study in great detail and choose from a wide variety of qualitative research methods that are best suited for their study. Thus, they may engage in participant observation, in which they enter the social world they wish to study and take detailed notes and provide thick descriptions of the physical setting and human interactions. Or they may conduct in-depth interviews with research participants from their targeted population. Qualitative researchers may also analyze transcripts of conversations, collect data from historical books, letters, diaries, newspaper articles, or even use social networking sites or text messages as their data sources. By immersing oneself in the social world and their field notes, qualitative researchers find patterns in their data. One more thing that we need to remember about qualitative research is that it uses an inductive approach where it begins with specific observations and then forms theoretical propositions or generalizations from them. So basically, qualitative researchers try to find disagreements, differences, or common vocabulary shared by their research participants and accordingly fit their data into themes or conceptual categories. This is a form of analysis which is known as grounded theory. Before I conclude, I also want to highlight that sometimes sociologists and other social scientists use a mixed methods approach where they use more than one method to collect their data. The rationale behind doing so is that if one's research shows the same trends when they use multiple kinds of methods, it increases the likelihood that their conclusions are correct. For example, if you want to investigate overall student satisfaction with the quality of teaching in your institution, you could first conduct quantitative surveys among the students in your college or university, followed by conducting in-depth interviews with a small group of students to learn the factors behind their satisfaction and dissatisfaction. This, in turn, will provide a deeper understanding of their survey results. Thanks for watching this video. Please like and share it and subscribe to the Sociology Professor channel.